First off, I want to say thank you. Just a few short weeks ago, I won a historic election. All the experts in D.C. said it was impossible. I won thanks to the support of the leader of the America First movement, President Donald J. Trump. And I won because Matt Schlapp, CPAC, and an army of grassroots conservatives had my back. That win has allowed me to continue fighting for the conservative movement at a time when we face the gravest threat we have ever seen from the radical left. Leftists are waging a reckless battle on reality itself. The cornerstone of this war is a denial of biology and an attempt to indoctrinate our children into believing that gender is a myth. These delusional Marxists, they believe they have the power of God. They believe they have the power to define good and evil, to change their gender, to control the weather, to define words, and to erase speech itself. Scripture teaches us that in the beginning, there was the Word. But leftists have decided they control the Word, that they can decide what you can say on Facebook and on Twitter, and they decide if calling a man is blasphemous. Genesis tells us that God created man and woman, that their purpose is to be fruitful and to multiply. And to build generations to serve the Lord. But oh no, the leftists have decided that they have the power to change gender. And they are preaching this directly to our children in classrooms, in Disney cartoons, and on social media. During COVID, parents began to realize what was happening when they observed their children's curriculum. And brave parents fought back. They stood up to oppose this radical ideology. But in Congress, sadly, most politicians were scared. They didn't want to be called names by the New York Times or CNN, so they stayed silent. They allowed the child abuse to continue. Friends, I'm not afraid of being called names by the fake news media. They know I'm not afraid of them. They viciously attack me, but I am not going to back down. I'm the mother of 7 children and grandmother of 19. That is a reason to fight. Friends, I couldn't care less what the childless Manhattan liberals and the MSNBC think of me, and you shouldn't either. As a mother and a Christian, I am shocked and I'm saddened by the sick agenda that Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, and the left-wing media are pushing on our children. Recently in Pennsylvania, the Department of Education decided that children as young as 3 years old can identify as transgender. I had some children that weren't potty trained at 3 yet, and they're saying that they know that they're a different gender. When I asked Joe Biden, Secretary of Health and Human Services, if the Biden administration would oppose transgender surgeries for 12-year-olds, he refused to answer me. Biden is using your tax dollars to push gender-affirming care on young children with permanent, life-altering consequences. We are facing an extremely dangerous and evil ideology that is targeting our children. The liars at so-called PolitiFact, in our home we call them PolitiFraud, said that I was spreading misinformation by saying puberty blockers and chemical castration drugs are dangerous. Well, guess what? Last month, The FDA put out warning labels on these dangerous puberty blockers. They finally admitted that these can cause numerous side effects, including things that are similar to brain tumors. In Congress, I am leading the fight to protect and defend our children, especially our daughters. Right now, girls across the country are being forced to compete in athletic competition against 18-year-old men. The Biden administration issued radical changes to Title IX, eliminating all definitions of gender to say anybody could be any gender they want, and allowing boys and men to shower in our girls' locker rooms. If girls complain or get upset, they are punished for harassment. And by the way, they're setting up teachers that complain or resist against this from being accused of harassment as well. In Congress, I introduced a bill called the Safety and Opportunity for Girls Act to ensure that our girls have opportunities in athletics and that we protect our girls in their private spaces. Yeah. Title IX wasn't created to force young girls to compete against men. The feminist movement was about giving girls opportunities to compete and to get scholarships like our boys and men have had. The transgender movement allows Marxist men to determine our daughters' future. What I want to ask is, where is the feminist outrage on all of this? A new Republican majority must pass legislation like the Women's Bill of Rights, which defines gender based on biology, not the whims of the Democrat Party. To the young people in this room, you are the pro-life generation. You are the ones that helped us end the disastrous Roe v. Wade. You can also be the generation that stands up for girls' athletics and children's safety. Demand that a Republican majority put a stop to the Biden administration's funding and promotion of this radical ideology. I'm so inspired when I see our young girls and women bravely speaking out against their colleges for allowing men in on their athletic teams and in their locker rooms. Those girls are our modern heroes. They are risking everything by taking on the radical leftists and acknowledging reality and the order of God's creation. This is an all-hands-on-deck battle because the consequences to our youth and the future of our country are so severe. But America's future is counting on you to be brave, to speak up, and to fight back. People, they want to control our language so they can control the conversation. They're planning on silencing us, their opponents. They want to turn our children into their foot soldiers in their war against reality, biology, and God. Well, they forgot about one thing: parents and grandparents. Yeah. You are the majority. You control who runs for Congress. You control our school boards. You're responsible for the future of our children. The future of our country is in your hands. I'd like to leave you with this scripture. I've been so encouraged by reading the book of Nehemiah. He said, "Be strong and let us fight bravely for our people and for the cities of our God. The Lord will do what is good." People, use your voice. Be brave. Do good. and together we'll save this country for our children and grandchildren. Thank you.